Social Services and Housing Committee to order. Here it's Thursday, March the 3rd, 2016. And does anybody have a declaration of pecuniary interest? So we'll go to the information items. And the first is the Child Care Free Subsidy Program. So Christine, if you have questions for Christine or comments first.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. We've brought back some information Brenda and her team have put together to further describe how the child care fee subsidy is determined. I know that was from our KPIs, and so we have some more detail here. In total, the fee subsidy dollars that are flowed in 2016 are planned to be flowed is about $1.6 million. Of that, the county's contribution is about $200,000, and that's required through our service agreements, those levels. We have some 100% dollars, some 80-20 dollars as well. So the number of projected spaces is based on an indexing, and that includes consideration for whether it's infant, toddler, preschool, or school-age spaces. And the staff have pulled together, for your interest, some numbers regarding children and families receiving subsidies since 2012 through to 2015. And I think that the graphs help to highlight that mix that impacts how many we're able to serve and what the average is at the end of the year. So for example, if you look at in 2013 on the graph, the number of spaces that we were able to provide increased in that year. And when you look at the corresponding circle graphs, you can see that in 2013, we were providing a higher number of school-age spaces than we had in previous years. And so the school-age ratio is a higher number. And so then that allows us to be able to flow to more spaces than if we had a higher number of infants or toddlers. So hopefully that helps to answer some of the questions about that KPI, and I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay. So next, so let's, for information, the child care. The next is the Community Homelessness Prevention Initiative, 2016-2017 Investment Plan. Chippy.
And so this is before you for information. As a reminder, the two main objectives for the Chippy are to assist people that are experiencing homelessness to obtain and retain their housing, and to assist people that are at risk of losing their housing to remain housed. And so each year the service manager is required to submit an investment plan that outlines how we will use that funding allocation that we receive. And so before you in the two charts are the Chippy allocations for the ministry fiscal period 2016-17, and then the second chart shows our planned allocation for use in 2016. And again, I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
Any comments or questions? So next on the agenda is the I had it mixed up here, maybe. The Strategic Community Initiatives Grant recipients, or...
Expression.
Okay. So what do you have?
The expression of interest.
Oh, maybe I didn't have...
Oh, they're out of order in the agenda. That's why. Sorry. Okay.
You weren't. All right.
Okay, so the Strategic Community Initiatives Grant recipients is before you for your information. Staff panel did review and evaluate the proposals that we received, and will be flowing money to the two proposals that met the evaluation criteria, which were the Bruce Grey Poverty Task Force and the Grey Bruce Task Force on Crystal Meth and Other Drugs. And I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
Any questions? Comments? So now we have the investment in affordable housing extension.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. This is an exciting step forward of our business plan. Of course, moving forward, the long-term housing plan objectives. A big part of that is increasing the number of units. And so our goal across the 10 years is to increase 445 affordable housing units. And so we will be releasing this expression of interest into the community to seek proposals for flowing those provincial dollars in the investment in affordable housing for new rental into the community. And I'm happy to take any questions on that if you have any.
Milt has a question. That's exciting.
That I have a question, and so how does this work? So this is for new build rentals, is it? Or
So the dollars can be used for brand new rental development, or it can be modification of non-residential into residential, or a complete renovation, so a major overhaul of a building.
okay. So it's not towards assisting in rental accommodation, like it is for building, actual build.
Yes, capital dollars. So
yes.
another component of the IAH program is the rent supplement
Yes,
portion,
yes.
and we continue to flow a certain portion of
Yeah.
the full package of dollars
Which
out
this
that
has
way.
nothing to do with that.
No, that's correct.
Yeah.
This is new.
Good, thank you.
Paul?
But if a builder or contractor wants to put up a building and be eligible for these funds, do they not have to offer a lower than market rent?
The expression of interest attachment, you'll see that it explains all the objectives of the program, the eligibility to meet the requirements of the program. And of those requirements is the 80% below average market rent rule. Therefore, if the market rent was 1,000, the rent needs to be 800 or less. And so that is one of the requirements. There are a number of other requirements in the program. And of course, we're looking for proposals in which people are working in partnership to ensure that the supportive housing needs are met as well too. So again, sometimes people need the actual physical space to live in. Beyond that, they need the assistance around their lifestyle and maintaining their housing.
Yes, Milt?
So is there like on the capital expenditure, is there a certain amount? Is there a split in percentage? Do we contribute? Yes, right?
So we're only contributing in this program to the capital, and we're suggesting that working in partnership, that someone who's putting forward a proposal for capital might find support dollars or a program that they're able to do that. And again, it's an expression of interest, so it leaves some room for people to say that they're interested in working in certain ways, and it may be that we receive proposals where we're matching up different proponents that are initiatives forward. We could have a complete, fully thought through plan as well too. So again, that expression of interest allows us to hear from the community different options.
But do we contribute dollars towards it? Like
County levy dollars?
Yes.
Sorry, we do not. This is entirely IAH provincial dollars.
So what incentive then is there for them to become involved in something that's below market?
It's a considerable investment in their build. So per unit, they would receive funding for the building. And that funding they use for the build, and then the agreement that we have with them for 20 years to provide the below average market rent is their piece, their contribution back to us. So we're investing in the capital up front for them so that they're able to provide that lower rent for 20 years.
So do we know what percentage we assist in the capital, or?
So it will vary dependent on their business case analysis. So when we go through the process, we have to determine that they're meeting the various different provincial targets.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are contributing, and then depending on the size of the proposal as well too, they have to include obviously a mix of full market rent units so that they can show how they're able to maintain their business strategy.
Okay.
Am I answering?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, but there's no just hard, fast percentage that we would contribute to the portion that's assisted?
The program has caps, but then we're able to work within the caps. Provincial caps.
Okay. Yeah.
Much like the other pieces of the program where we have local flexibility to set our own guidelines for that.
So we can attract investment by altering, but with a bit of flexibility maybe.
Correct.
Sorry, Madam Chair, if I can just interject one comment to that point, that there are a number of criteria under the provincial model, so we are really anticipating that we're going to have a hard time. We're not going to have a big pool of people who will respond to this, but it's at least a step in the right direction through the program. So
my question is, has it become harder in this low interest rate environment than it was before? Because so the contribution to capital, you know, they can think, well, I can just go to the bank and borrow the money easier than go through all the government criteria to do this, whereas in maybe a higher interest rate environment, you know, it's a way of leveraging money for their building.
What I believe is that's not the case, and part of the reason for that is a number of the groups or organizations that will express interest around this will be nonprofits. And so they're making a decision to invest in the community, and this helps them to do that because it decreases the mortgage that they need to obtain for the build. Additionally, in the past, when we've done this program, we have had some private developers that have partaken in the program as well too, and the interest rate hasn't changed substantially since our last round of IAH when we did have private involved.
So that was my question. You're still anticipating some private contractors or investors that invest in this field will still continue to invest?
Yes, we've had interest from private, we've had interest from nonprofit, and we've had some interest from some private and nonprofit who are partnering together as well too. So we do expect that that we will receive some expressions there. We're hopeful that some of the projects may be able to look at leveraging with other dollars that are currently available in other calls for proposal right now as well too. So there's good timing.
Dave, did you have a comment or question?
Oh, just a short one. Can land be included in the capital side of this?
The purchase of the land?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't remember that offhand, David. I'd have to check. It might. I know that the land has to be a piece of it, but I would have to check that and get back to you.
So you're saying it has to be serviced land in an area?
Because of our restrictions around spending the money, we need projects that are ready to go midway through 2016. So it does need to be serviced because there's too much risk in not having the ground ready in time for the fiscal year.
Okay. So we've had some good discussion, and unless you have something else, our next meeting is April the 7th, 2016, and I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mitch, second by Mike, that the Social Services and Housing Committee be adjourned. All in favor? And that carried.